This message comes from U.S. Bank. Expertise, encouragement, and support. That's what U.S. Bank is for. From incredible customer service to custom-fit personal loan options, U.S. Bank can help you achieve your goals. And the award-winning U.S. Bank mobile app puts your plan in your hand. Get started today at usbank.com. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Credit products are offered by U.S. Bank National Association and subject to normal credit approval. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC.
When you sign up for BP Me Rewards, you can get 5 cents off every gallon of gas every time at BP or Amoco stations. That means more savings and more whatever you'd like to use your savings on. So treat yourself. It's on us. Visit bp.com/save to learn more.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, joined by David McDonald. It is Thursday the 30th of June 2022. This is episode 216. Damon, you recovered from your big trip to Chicago?
Yes, it was fun. It was honestly it was an absolute blast. And the flight themselves were easy peasy, no issues, with the help of alcohol and edibles. I was feeling quite fine on my flights. But yeah, it was really a fun time. I mean, I wish you were there. Saw a lot of the Voices of Wrestling crew, including the great Andrew Rich once again, who I hadn't seen since when New Japan was in Lowell. John Carroll, the great Chris Samsa, who by the way, I don't know, Joel, if you've ever met the great Chris Samsa.
No, I haven't had the pleasure.
He is an attractive gentleman. I told him and his wife. I think, it's his wife, right? I think it was his wife. I hope it was his wife. Like if it's not, that's going to be hell to pay at the house. I was like, you look like here. And you might need a little help with the Google, Joel. He looks like Jordan Knight from New Kids on the Block. So if you want to Google that, everyone at home. Okay. He's an attractive guy. I was like, you're a handsome dude. I don't like it. Right?
What a hunk.
Yes. He's a hunky guy. But he hooked up everything because he lives local. And we had a great time. I mean, the show was great. I know we're going to get into it. But overall, the meetup was great. Right. That was fun. Met a lot of cool people.
And how was the meet at the meetup?
So here's the thing. So I get there. I pull up in my Uber. It was the biggest like SUV ever. I felt like I was like Kanye West or something. Pull up, and there were two dudes that were out front, and I guess they saw the Maple Leafs hat, and they were like, "You're Damon?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, go on in. Let's see. I was like, I know somebody, Eric from the Torch, Pro Wrestling Torch, had reserved some tables, and I said, well, let's go together. So we go in. They had the tables out in the back. But there was probably about 20 people, I would say, at its peak. I was trying to just kind of go in between tables and meet everyone, and everyone was super friendly, and everyone was fun, and I don't know, man. Like it felt like old times. It really felt good. 4 beers. That was it. 4 beers. And our good friend Jeff, listener of the show, he's the dude that has all the Liger in-ring stuff that I was making him offers on the spot. I was like, what did you pay for it? I'll pay double. I was like, I told him before, I was like, 4 beers my minimum, or 4 beers is my max, because I don't want to get all fucked up and go to the show. He's like, all right. So here it comes. So somebody was like, I'll get next round. Who's going? Whatever. And he looked at me. He's like, he pointed at my beer. He's like, that's number 4. And I was like, all right. And that's that. That's that. And then he drove us.
Excellent.
Yep. And he drove us to the show. So that was nice. I paid for parking. And then when I was there, so they had open bar, right? Fantastic.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about this. The sweet,
The suite was sweet.
legendary sweet.
Yep, I had like 4 hot dogs. I was a gluttonous pig. They had wings and a dessert tray. It was wonderful, and then an open bar. So I remember John Carroll going, Damon, what are you drinking?" And I was like, "I'm going with the dirty water first." And I filled it up with ice, poured it about halfway with a nice little bourbon, right? But then halfway through, I'm like, you know what? This is a path of destruction. Because if you're going to have 1, you're going to have 2. And you're going to 2, you're going to have 3. So I stopped. I literally just stopped drinking. I maybe had a quarter of it. And then I was like nursing some beers. But like halfway through the show, I stopped drinking completely. And I was perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. So the whole show didn't sleep once. So yeah, I was. So I know this seems ridiculous, but I was a little bit proud of myself. I felt pretty good.
Yeah, that's great.
I thought so. I mean, listen, it's ridiculous that I'm even talking about that, but yes, it was a fun time. But I will say this: so on this trip, I will say this: I had I had another fall. I had another accident.
Uh-oh.
Yes. So me and Cheryl were going to lunch before the show, right? And we stop at a bar, it was like a brewery. Pretty good. I forget what his name was. But outside the window, that's when I texted you. I was like, there's this guy walking around the streets with the IWGP Heavyweight Champion on it. Like, he's just walking around the streets with the belt. And I'm just like, ugh, God almighty. What are you doing? Right? And then seconds later, I see Eddie Kingston walking down the street. And I was like, oh, what's going on? So we left there and we were going to go to a place called Sushi-san, which was like a block away. So I'm walking, boom, 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 walking in there. And like the sidewalk was a little uneven. And I guess I was expecting to land at a certain point and I didn't. And my ankle just twisted over and boom, I go down in the middle of the fucking walkway like a maniac. And I'm like, oh, and my hand was absolutely black and blue. And my ankle still right now. I could take a picture of my ankle right now. It's fucked. It's just bruised all over. So you know how you just kind of get up and you're just like, oh, fuck, I'm so embarrassed, whatever. And then somebody came over and they were like, "You all right, dude?" And I was like, "Yeah, the fucking." And my wife was like, "Yeah, he just fell." Like he didn't want to even get into it.
He does this all the time.
He does it all the time. I'm 2 for 2 in recent vacations. It's terrible. I was so embarrassed. I don't know what happened, but yes, I fell on my ass fucking again. No kids, no kids subliminal. Maybe the kid was there. Maybe the kid was in Chicago and he was across the street and he was like, "There's that fucking guy again. I'm making him fall again." Wouldn't that be something?
These are the evil telekinetic powers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this, because I'm sure we're going to get into Forbidden Door in a second. This is your last show for like a month, right?
Yeah, I think it's like that. Okay, so tomorrow I'm flying back to the UK, and I said before, I think I'm going to be in a tiny little house with my parents and my kids. Obviously, it's just not possible. Well, one, it's not really practical, and 2, I don't want to. I don't want to have to wake up at stupid times and watch a Yano and Dick Togo dog collar match. Or at least when I do watch that, I want to enjoy it in peace without having to worry about coming up with a tape to show on the podcast.
Right.
Oh, I'll watch it. I'll enjoy it, but don't want a podcast about it. So, yeah, you will next hear from me in early August. I'll jump back in halfway through the G1.
Wow.
We haven't decided yet who's going to be taking over, but you'll have Damon, and it will be wonderful, I'm sure.
It will be. It would probably be, and we were talking about this a little bit. It'll probably be me interviewing people because I have no idea. Like, I just don't want to do a format. And again, these shows are fucking nonsense. So I would prefer to have. Let me interview people who are active in the community. So I will be reaching out to some people very soon. So look in your inboxes or text messages, and I'll be corresponding with you shortly. If you are a lucky chosen one. I think right now what are we looking at? Like 3 shows, maybe 3 shows, 3 shows, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's not that bad. And if anything breaks, I mean, look, you can hop back in, but. God bless you. Fucking on a plane, 2 kids, toddlers. Oof. How do you think they're going to make it out flying? Has either of them flown yet?
Yeah, both of them. Wait, has Arthur flown? Esther definitely has. Yeah, Arthur. They've both flown. They have. Yeah,
Okay.
only short distances, like 1-2 hours. So the actual experience of navigating the airport and actually being on the plane, takeoff, landing, that's all fine. But there's 2 long flights. We're going to Doha and then Doha to London. So I've just like loaded my MacBook full of kids' TV for Esther, and Arthur. Fuck knows, he's just probably going to be crawling up and down the aisles. But
how long's the flight, my man?
I don't know. I'm scared to look at it.
Really?
I don't want to know.
Over 12 hours, right?
Okay, no. Tomorrow it's leaving Bangkok at 8:45 in the morning and arriving Doha at 4 p.m. And then there'll be a little layover, like hour or 2, and then another flight, roughly the same length.
That's a haul, my man. That's a haul. And where is home again?
So my parents now live in Totnes in Devon. So they'll meet us at the airport and we'll spend the night there, and then the next morning we'll drive down to the West Country. I haven't been there yet. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. I'm excited for you. It's the first time you've been back in a long time. What's the first thing you're looking forward to getting? Like what's like, all right, I got to fucking get this immediately. What do you miss most?
I want to sit in a pub beer garden with some scampi fries and a pint of, I don't know, some sort of, maybe a cider, nice English cider.
That'd be wonderful. Can I ask you this? Are you meeting up with the great Dan, editor Dan?
I hope so. I will be in London for the final week of my trip, so I will definitely be reaching out to him and the other Smartcast boys if they're around.
Nice.
Love to see him.
Little reunion. That'd be cool. Will there be a Super J-Cast meetup at any point?
Absolutely not, unless anyone wants to take care of my kids and let me go out for 3 hours.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm happy for you, dude. I'm thrilled. It's been a long time coming. It's been you deserve this one for sure. It's been a long time coming. So good for you. I hope your trip is safe. Flight is not bumpy, and you have a great time. And send me pictures when you get there. Send me pictures when you get that fucking cheese sandwich, that fucking toasted cheese. Oh my Lord! At Covent Garden. That's the best. Not Covent Garden. It's at Borough Market.
Borough
Market. Yeah. Fuck yeah. All right. So what do you want to talk about today, Joe?
Right, little nugget of news first.
All right.
So the Ota City Gymnasium will be allowing cheering from July the 9th. So there's a Tokyo Joshi show there. It's going to be the first one with cheering with masks on. So cheering and streamer tape. So just looking ahead, obviously nothing announced for New Japan, and I don't want us or anyone else to get their hopes up. But we have 2 G1 shows there. Night 4, where our main event is Ishii versus Jay White. Night 5, where our main event is Tanahashi versus Naito. So again, I'm not saying because Tokyo Joshi are having cheering there, it definitely means New Japan will, but you kind of hope that if they're allowing cheering for one wrestling company, that they're going to do it in New Japan. What are we thinking?
I would think so, right? I mean, why? I mean, the only thing I think that would hold them back possibly would be maybe they expect a bigger crowd, and that in turn might make them a little bit weary of cheering with the amount of people that might be in there. That being said, fucking let's go. I mean, come on. I mean, well, just if you want to do masks, I got no problem with the masks. You want to wear the masks, wear the masks. But let's go. Let's go. The cheering.
That's the one thing. Like this, watching Forbidden Door really shone a light on. We've been putting a brave face on it, but wrestling without cheering is fucking shit, isn't it? It's rubbish. And watching Forbidden Door, and I'm going to go back to, we can't defend that anymore. It's awful.
Yep. Yeah, it really is. It was, look, again, I mean, I don't want to, I certainly don't want this to turn into a fucking COVID talk, but yes, there's no turning back. Did you see, and again, I know we're getting into it, but the level of enthusiasm on those guys that came over from New Japan. Like
Yes,
they,
yeah. I was going to go to the question from that, actually. So Multiverse says the roster has to be counting down the days until crowds can cheer again. You could see them love the noise. Yeah, you could physically see them react to it. You know, just off the top of my head, people like Clark Connors, even like Despy and Kanemaru, just seeing crowds shouting and yelling for them, it gave them life, and they must be absolutely sick to death of it. So definitely, I mean, I do wonder if, having worked for Forbidden Door, they might be coming back and having a word with the bosses and be like, come on, we've got to do something. Did you see this show?
Right.
Fuck.
Right. It's, you're right. The guys even working dark matches, the crowd was like, truly, this was the best pro wrestling crowd I've ever been around. Like, it was packed to the gills. It was, United Center is a beautiful building, modern, spacious basketball / hockey arena. It was packed to the gills, and everybody was like, it. I know that there was this thing where people were like, well, they won't know who the New Japan. Everyone knew who everyone was. Everyone knew the spots. Everyone knew, and 17,000 or however many it was. You don't think Yoshihashi had a fucking boner going to the ring? You know what I mean? Like, everyone, top to bottom on that fucking card was just like, look, that card had a lot of issues going into it with injuries and all that shit. And it felt like every fucking day something was going wrong. I got to tell you, that was, truth be told, hands to the sky, I swear, if not the best, but one of the best pro wrestling shows I've ever attended live. That includes crazy ECW shows. That includes some WCW pay-per-views. That includes New Japan shows at the Tokyo Dome. Top to bottom, I don't think I've ever been to a pro wrestling show where, from the dark matches all the way to the main event, it was, at the very least, really good. I never. And I texted you, Joel, saying, you're not going to believe this, but I think this might be the best pro wrestling show I've ever been to. And again, there might have been main events that have been bigger and grander and more spectacular, but top to bottom, a pro wrestling show where the crowd was just fucking into everything and the wrestlers work their asses off in front of a live crowd. I can't. I'm really hard pressed to think of anything better. Again, Tokyo Domes, G1s. No, they don't compare to this top to bottom. It really was a special night, and I think everyone that was there appreciated it.
That's it. I think when you saw those first teams coming out for the opening match, it was like the crowd had decided, the build-up, the injuries, fuck all of that. We are going to enjoy every single second of this, and we're going to make it a great show. And obviously, the wrestlers did their part. I don't think it's fair to say they were just going to phone it in, but then they heard the crowd were hot, so they decided to change all their match stats. You can't do that. I'm sure they went out there determined to put on a great show and enjoy it as well. But just sort of collectively, the way everyone from the crowd to the workers managed to get over all the disappointment from the build-up and put on. Again, I wasn't there live, so there's no live bump from me, but I thought it was an outstanding show as well. And a lot of people are going to be eating crow. I mean, us included, I think. I mean, I said I thought it was going to be a fun show. I didn't think it was going to be this good. This was, one of the most enjoyable shows that I've ever watched on TV. So just tremendous start from top to finish. And I know you didn't experience this, but the commentary, I thought they did a very good job as well. Obviously, there were a lot of people there. In danger, of course, of stepping on each other's toes when you have that many people doing play-by-play. But I thought they were outstanding. They didn't get in each other's way. Kevin Kelly was great. He laid out all the information that we needed from the New Japan side. And I'm not saying that just because he gave us a shout-out. Respect. But yeah, it was a really enjoyable experience, top to bottom. And you're not the only one, Damon. I think most people, certainly from the VOW side that I spoke to coming out of it, were saying, yeah, this was incredible. Like John Carroll, you mentioned, they were gutted. They thought they wasted their money because they saw that Naito wasn't there, Hiromu wasn't there. They were thinking, wish I wasn't going to this, but came away thinking, fuck, that was one of the best shows I've ever been to. That was a perfect 10 out of 10 show. So absolutely something to be celebrated here. Let's get into it then. So the buy match was Bishamon, Goto, and Yoshihashi defeating the Factory Team, QT Marshall and Aaron Solo, 8 minutes 53 seconds. And like you said, when Yoshihashi walks through the curtain and the crowds erupt for him, you know you're off to a winner, don't you?
You really do. And you could tell, like, he came through the curtain or the tunnel or whatever you want to call it, and he was kind of the usual Yoshihashi, where like a little awkward, a little anxious, just a little not, and then the crowd.
I'll tell you why, Damon. We had another music gate. They cut off the best part of his music. You know, the
right.
That's supposed to run for about 7 minutes before he appears.
but they were pressed for time. They were like, get the fuck out.
The Yoshihashi incident.
The Yoshihashi incident. Like, get the fuck through the curtain. Let's go. But like he turned it around because the crowd was just like, fucking Yoshihashi, let's go. And then Goto, and for a dark match, it was good. It was a really good match. I mean, I don't know if this was on the what do they call it? Not the pre-show.
The buy-in.
Yeah. Okay, so it was televised, but like I thought everybody was going 100 miles an hour. I thought everybody looked good.
Yeah, extremely high ceiling on this show. There were no matches that I thought were bad.
No,
even from the buy-in.
No, top to bottom. Like, I kept saying it during the show. I was like, name me the match that stunk. Nothing stunk. Like, everything was at least solid, at the very least solid. And like, yes, there was one match where it was like, okay, that finish came out of fucking nowhere, but the match itself was good until that point. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody was just kind of scratching their head with the finish, but aside from that, there wasn't a bad match. There wasn't and I saw somebody tweet something about like burning out the crowd. Maybe it was you, Joel. It might have been. Like, that's proof in concept that there's no such thing. Like, if you deliver a show that just goes and goes and goes, trust me. Look, I'm sure that there was a lot of people that this was their first live pro wrestling show in a long fucking time, right? I'm sure there was. I know there was. Man, people were ready for it. So if Yoshihashi, I'm gonna be honest, I don't care who came out. They could have fucking wheeled out anybody. I was gonna say Yano, but apparently Yano was in the crowd. Yano was in like the second row. They could have wheeled out anybody, and the place would have been berserko.
Yeah, absolutely. The next match we had was Lance Archer defeating Nick Comoroto in 6 minutes 8 seconds with a blackout. So a nice little tune-up match for Lance. A little surprise there. That wasn't announced ahead of time. There were some whispers. If you've been following Voices of Wrestling Patreon, you might have picked up some clues on this. But yeah, good to see Lance here.
Yeah, he's ready. Yeah, just a nice little 6 minute. I don't want to even say squash, but I mean, it made Lance look super strong, and as it should. And yeah, he's ready for G1. He looks great. He looks like he lost a little bit of weight too. He looks like lost a little weight. I don't think anybody's bitching and moaning about Lance Archer in the fucking G1, right? I mean, he's a guy that is a proven commodity. So let's give him a 6 minute dark match and let him have some fun.
Right, next match. What did you think of this one? Because I fucking love this one. This is Swerve and Keith Lee defeating El Desperado, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, 12 minutes, 8 seconds. And just the opening segment of Kanemaru against Keith Lee. Like, how often does Kanemaru get to work against someone like Keith Lee? You could tell he was enjoying it. And just when they started getting going and just having those dynamics of a huge guy like Keith Lee getting chopped down to size by these like super efficient New Japan Junior tag team, just sort of trying to take him down and methodically to chop away his massive legs. Just really compelling stuff. I thought this was a great match, honestly. The closing sequence as well, with Swerve coming in and sweeping Despy's legs and stomping on him from the outside. And we got the whiskey. The crowd was just horrified by that. It was just really great stuff. I mean, I know it's only a 12-minute buy-in match, but I love this one.
Me too. And I like the way that the juniors worked it. Despy was fucking over. I hope it translated well through the TV, but Despy was over as fuck. Keith Lee was over too. I mean, Keith Lee got a huge pop coming through. Yeah, I mean, you might expect a little bit of a squash considering the size differential, and there was a size differential, but it was smart. The juniors working, chopping down the leg, working the leg, fucking up a little bit. Great bumps by both of them. Both of them were bumping big time. I'm glad they got a match. I'm glad that all of them got a match because there was some doubt of those guys, and I mean I know I bitched and moaned about it last week. Especially the guy like Despy, like how the fuck can he not be on the show? And technically he wasn't. It was a dark match, but like I don't know how you can gauge that. But if you're a pro wrestling fan, you're like, and you were on the fence of getting this show, and you watch that buy-in, I don't know how you don't fucking just be like, all right, fuck it. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, if these dark matches are any indicator of how good this show will be, you're going to be in a good spot on a Sunday fucking night. Like, I would be very curious to know how many, like, last-minute buys there were. Because I think every one of the dark matches did their job tremendously. Obviously, I didn't hear any of the commentary, but from a live crowd perspective, I don't think you could ask for anything more from three dark matches.
And the final dark match we had was LA Dojo, so Yuya Uemura, Kevin Knight, DKC, and Alex Coughlin being defeated by the team of Max Caster, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, and Billy Gunn in 5 minutes 35 seconds. So pretty short match there. Damon, what do we think of my absolute favourite, my best boy, Max Caster, and his rap this time? I thought it was a great one. What was it he said? I'm going to make you call me senpai. You're probably in the dojo watching hentai. I love that. I thought that was great. Anyway, I did. I really did. I don't know if it's my dad's sensibilities that I just find Max Caster hilarious, but there you go. I mean, this was fine. If I'm going to have some slight complaints about this show, I wasn't thrilled about them, the LA Dojo guys losing 2-on-4, because I think two of the Guns team just sort of wandered off, and then it ended up basically being Billy Gunn and Max Caster defeating all four of them, which, rather they hadn't done that. I did enjoy all the people on it just like, they're young lions, they're supposed to lose. Fuck off. Right. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to die on that hill, but just if I'm going to complain about something, didn't need to do that, but it was a nothing match, a 5-minute match. Who cares? Right.
And honestly, it felt like it was less than that. So, and I'm saying that as a good thing. Like, it wasn't like everybody was just looking at their watch, waiting for it to get done. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I think the finish seemed a little lame, but what are you gonna, booking aside, the match was fine.
Right, that brings us on to the main card then. So we started off with Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki defeating Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. So Jericho pinned Umino after 18 minutes 58 seconds with a Judas effect. I mean, what an opener!
What an opener!
This is like case in point for Forbidden Door, a match that looks a bit weird on paper. You're like, what is this shit? And then you actually see it, and it's amazing. Like, this is one of the most fun pay-per-view openers I can remember. Just balls to wall action, loads of little storylines weaved into it, and just sort of examining it from the lens of the New Japan fan. I think we've got to talk about Shota Umino here. We've got a lot of questions about him. So Sandre the Giant says, is Shota Umino now back on the track to future acedom after his Forbidden Door showing? He worked great, looked $1 million like a little baby Tanahashi. And yeah, I thought this was a real sort of star-making performance from Shota Umino, and in no small part because of Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho is a guy who I don't think really gets enough love for how unselfish he is and how hard he works to put other people over. And you could see that his intention in this match, and probably going forward, given I don't know if you caught the backstage segment afterwards where he threw a fireball in Shota Umino's face. It looks like this is a long-term program he wants, and I don't know if there's legs to it. It will be wonderful to see them having a singles match at Tokyo Dome or something down the line, because they've got that built-in story with the Wrestle Kingdom 12 spot where he put Umino into the walls of Jericho in front of his father. So it's all built in there, and you could see the huge parts of this match were laid out to make Shota Umino look like a star. And he did look like a star. He's in great shape. He was showing confidence and energy and passion, and I just came away from this thinking, okay, this guy's nearly ready.
You know, what it reminded me of is, back in the day when Jumbo Tsuruta was going to on excursion, and he would be wrestling in Florida or he'd be wrestling in Texas. And he would be wrestling like the Funks, like Dory and Terry, or, he's wrestling legitimate stars of the business at the time. And, legends and guys who really knew the business, and especially in the ring and outside the ring. And this screams that to me. Like, this is Chris Jericho saying, okay, I know you are the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? I know that in a few years' time, you're going to be top of the card come Wrestle Kingdom. Let me do what I can to show you some things. Be in the ring with me. Let's work a program together. That's, to me, Chris Jericho was an outstanding performer of this match. I think all of them were. But again, the unselfishness of this show, we talked a lot about like people not wanting to put people over, and or let me take that back. The companies not wanting to put people over. Like, but then on the other hand, you had Chris Jericho that's like, okay, fuck it. Let's first match, let's fucking have a blast. You know what? And I gotta give and take. Unbelievably great. So entertaining. The match was so much fun. And, not for nothing, it was Fire Pro Wrestling when they put it together. And it was like Fire Pro Wrestling fun. Like having this match. And how smart was it to have this to be the first match? Like, for this to be the first match, like that, it felt like there was a purpose for that. And it was really a fun way to kick off the show.
Then we had the ROH and IWGP Tag Team Championships winner-take-all match. So FTR, Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood defeated Rocky Romero and Beretta, and Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb. 16 minutes, 19 seconds via Big Rig. So FTR are the new IWGP Tag Team Champions. Very fun match. I liked the way they laid it out. It was sort of telegraphing it when, I forget which one it was, but one of the FTR fellas, the bald fellow, walked off and all injured. And I was like, he's definitely coming back. And he did. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I'm not crazy about the three-ways, but I thought they laid this one out pretty well and protected Khan on the Cobb, because, of course, they didn't take the pin here. I mean, I think we all knew that Rocky Romero was in this match solely to eat the pin, and so it played out. But yeah, I thought I had a good time watching this one. In-ring answers, as much as I love Cobb and O'Khan, or hell, FTR with those belts, is very interesting. And Frank says, do you see FTR showing up in Japan soon? How long do they hold those belts? So yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised, because I was wondering, would New Japan be happy to let an outside team win their IWGP tag title? My prediction going into it was no, but I'm glad that they did, because yeah, it definitely mixes things up a bit. I would love to see FTR in Japan. Them being a world tag team would definitely elevate that, and they would surely be excited to work in Japan. They've spoken about it at length in interviews as well. So whilst I did really enjoy the Khan and the Cobb team being champions, I think FTR winning it opens a lot more doors, if you will, doesn't it?
It does. I like them as a tag team. I really do. I think they're a special tag team. And to me, it feels a little bit rare to have a team that's solely a team. I mean, again, you can put your fingers at Young Bucks, but honestly, you could probably count them on one hand that are really, really good at this point in time. So, yeah, it breathes a lot of freshness. I was surprised that they would, but let's be honest here. If there are touring wrestlers, the likelihood of the tag titles changing hands to a touring, and I put that in air quotes, wrestling team is higher than anything else. I mean, we've seen that with War Machine. We've seen that with Matt Taven and fucking Mike Bennett, right? We've seen that with Gallows and Anderson. We've seen that, we've seen that a lot. So it's not too crazy an idea for them to have the titles. I did not expect it. But again, these are guys that are going to be showing up on AEW TV with those titles. I mean, and all the other titles that they have. I think it's it's an okay thing. And them coming over, I think we will see that. I think it's. I don't want to say it's a definite because they could lose it tonight on TV for crying out loud. But I like the idea of them, breathing some even more freshness and fresh blood in the heavyweight tag division.
Yeah, and obviously there is money in a rematch because Khan and Cobb were not pinned. Well, they've lost their titles twice now without actually being pinned. So they've obviously got that claim to come back to. Some funny tweets, actually. O'Khan tweeted this 9 hours ago saying, "Return to Japan. The belt was unreasonably stolen by the FTR, so I'm comforted by porn star. I'm a poor person." And there's a photo of him cavorting with
sexy ladies.
Excellent stuff. And there was also one from Tokyo, I think this is Tokyo Sports, and I quote, "Great O'Khan committed the cardinal sin of losing the IWGP tag team belts overseas. He is an unparalleled buffoon. Ooh. If you want to come back to Japan, go swim in the Pacific Ocean."
My Lord.
Very, very harsh words from Tokyo Sports there, which did make me chuckle.
They didn't lose him. They didn't lose him. That's you don't have to pin the champions. Come on, Tokyo Sports. Relax a little bit. The guy's hanging out with porn stars now. But, not for nothing. He's living the life.
There's some respect in this league. Yeah. Come on. All right, then we had the AEW All-Atlantic Championship match, the four-way match with Pac defeating Miro, Malachi Black, and Clark Connors, 15 minutes, 10 seconds with a brutalizer. So Pac becomes the first AEW All-Atlantic champion. And there was a lot of hand-wringing and wailing and teeth gnashing about Ishii not being in this and Clark Connors being put in. I said on the show that it will be great with Clark Connors, and I think I was proved right here. Very, very different kind of performance than you would have got from Ishii. Ishii in this match would have been good, but he would have basically been the same as Miro, sort of functionally. The tough guy, they're just sort of squaring up to each other, hitting each other hard, blah, blah, blah. But I thought Clark brought something very, very different to the table with a great underdog babyface energy. And I just love the way the match was laid out for Clark, where he kept trying to attack. He'd go after the big dogs in the match and just ate shit every single time, getting manhandled, thrown out the ring, just tossed aside like a piece of crap. But then gradually he just kept trying, and you knew something was building until finally we got that great spot with him spearing. He speared Miro through a table, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Which got an amazing reaction, and you could see like he was losing his mind. The crowd were getting so into him. The crowd were chanting his name, and just what a fantastic moment. And I know he ate the submission in the end, and I thought that was laid out really smartly as well, because he was in the armbar from Malachi Black, and then Pac did the 450 onto that same arm, and then locked in the brutalizer for that arm. So he sort of had his arm triple worked over, so he tapped straight away. I thought he sold it really well. I thought a wonderful performance from Clark Connors, really made a name for himself in this spot here. Frank says Clark Connors also seems to be a made man with his performance. He should be in the heavyweight class now. I think he stays in Japan for a bit. An eventual run at the Never Openweight title could be good. Multiverse Ace says, who do you think had the bigger breakout performance on Sunday, Shota or Clark? The audience reaction for both was incredible. Mm-hmm. So Damon, please talk to us about this match and Clark Connors. So
I guess I'll work my way backwards. Who did come out of this with the biggest amount of shine? Clark Connors was really good in this match. And I'm going to say this, and people might not fucking agree, but I think you would too. I think that this was not only a positive replacement, but it probably was better than if Ishii were in the match.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
You are correct for saying that.
Right. Now, I know people are like, well, what are you talking about? Here's what you know what you're going to get, and it's probably going to be very good. But what you got was a guy who knew the spotlight was on him, knew this was a moment. And I don't know if necessarily you're going to get that with Ishii, right? So you have that element of a guy that's willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to make this a good match. He should be a heavyweight. He should not be a junior. I would agree with that. Who came out as a bigger star? I'm going to say Shota. And here's why: the post match angle. Not everybody gets a fucking fireball thrown at their face. You know?
Yes.
I mean, like he was the chosen one to get that. So I'm going to give it to him just for that. Because here's the thing: as silly as it sounds, people will remember that. People will remember that. Just because it's Chris Jericho throwing a fucking fireball in somebody's face. But honestly, the match was really good. You know who's criminally underrated? Pac is unbelievably good. And I don't even know if criminally underrated is as an accurate statement, but like I know everybody was chanting the old "you deserve it" at him after he won the title, but I hope they do something with this fucking title because that is a guy that like he is so incredibly good that he deserves something around his waist. And hopefully this, again, turns into something that people care about. And here's the thing, he'll make it so that people care about it. But yeah, I think he was one of those guys at the end of the night. It was like, he might be the MVP of the night.
This message comes from U.S. Bank. Expertise, encouragement, and support. That's what U.S. Bank is for. From incredible customer service to custom-fit personal loan options, U.S. Bank can help you achieve your goals. And the award-winning U.S. Bank mobile app puts your plan in your hand. Get started today at usbank.com. U.S. Bank, we'll get there together. Credit products are offered by U.S. Bank National Association and subject to normal credit approval. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Freedom is a feeling, and the best way to truly feel free is behind the wheel of a Jeep SUV. Find out what true freedom feels like at Jeep Freedom Days. Right now, get 0% APR financing plus $3,000 total bonus cash on 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee WK Laredo. Don't miss this great offer. Hurry into the Jeep Freedom Days event today. Financing for qualified buyers through Chrysler Capital. Not all buyers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Offer ends 7/5/22. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Okay, then we had a 6-man tag team match where Shingo Takagi, Darby Allin, and Sting, talk about your Fire Pro random energy there, defeated the Bullet Club team of El Phantasmo, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, which again, just a tremendous 6-man team of just real shithead energy there. Just an absolute blast from the moment where we had the silhouette of Sting at the top, jumping on all of these guys. Just absolute mayhem. I love this one. This was so fun.
Dude, let me tell you something. When they did the old Sting in the rafters and they had the spotlight up, like, okay, I'm in the Voices of Wrestling box. I don't think you can get more jaded pro wrestling fans than this group. And everyone was fucking pants down at the idea of Sting repelling from the rafters. And then him, faking everybody out, or the phony Sting or whatever. It was great. Sting in the ring with those guys was tremendous. The Los Ingobernables fist bump with Shingo, tremendous.
Not Stingobernables, as they're now called.
Oh, Sting. Okay, I feel like that's fair. I think this match had a bit of everything for everyone. You could get your nostalgia scratch, your itch scratched. You can get your solid pro wrestling. You can get your death-defying spots. Darby Allin, I'm sorry, is a maniac with some of the shit that he does. Sting.
That's that one dream match I'm holding out for, Damon. I want Darby Allin versus Docky at some point in the future.
Well, I tell you what. Hopefully, maybe fingers crossed. Best of the Super Juniors next year would be nice. But just everything about it, like this match and the opening match with Suzuki, Jericho, Eddie Kingston, like it had a very similar energy where it was just so cool to have a match like this. Like, again, Sting in the ring with Shingo, in the ring with the Young Bucks, in the ring with El Phantasmo. Craziness. But yeah, like if I'm closing my eyes and thinking, okay, what were the memories of that? It was the Voices of Wrestling box going bananas at the idea of Sting up in the rafters and then him doing his thing with the Young Bucks and Hikuleo. Fucking great.
Okay, then we had a women's AEW World Women's Championship match. Thunder Rosa defeated Toni Storm. Good match. I mean, I'll just skip over this one because there's nothing really to get into from New Japan fans' lens here. So unless you have any strong thoughts about that, we'll move on to the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, which was Will Ospreay successfully defending against Orange Cassidy, 60 minutes, 43 seconds with a Stormbreaker. So In-Ring Art says, how over is Orange Cassidy in person? And Cactus Max says, does Damon still think 20 other guys on the AEW roster could have had a better match with Will Ospreay than Orange Cassidy?
Yes, I do. That's fine because that just speaks volumes about the talent that might be there. That being said, talk about a guy who shut me up, right? This match was, he found a way to incorporate his gimmick, which, again, I said could be a handcuffing thing, could be, I don't know how they're going to work this. They found a way. They did it. It was great. Everything top to bottom was super solid. The spot where, he does his usual, the weak kicks and everybody chants along. And then he came back with the Kawada style kicks on Ospreay. Ospreay, I thought, was fucking great. Look. Just
awesome heel work. That moment where he put on the abdominal stretch and then put his hand in Orange Cassidy's pocket. Yeah. That was so good.
Yeah, pulls out the middle finger. I mean, look, I'll be the first to admit, boy, was I fucking dead wrong. Boy, was I, proven wrong. I thought this match was fantastic. That does not mean that there are other guys on that roster that on paper I feel like could have had a great match with Will Ospreay and be a little bit more, I don't know, for my tastes, a little bit more sexy. But this was fantastic. And of course, never thought I would hear it live again, but those guitar strings being plunked at the end during the beatdown. Look, there are moments in my life that I will never forget. Maybe Liger's retirement ceremony, maybe Naito winning the title and the crowd going berserko with Kenta. Maybe it's Kenny versus Okada from the Dome. There's lots of things where it's just like, okay, little snapshots in my mind. There's going to be a moment that I'll never forget, and that was when those guitar strings were plucked. And I look over, and Chris Sampson is looking at me, and I'm now looking at him, and we both are just wide-eyed, and we both mouth like, "What the fuck?" Like, what? Like, it's just one of those things where the guitar hits, I turn, and he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, we're like, what the fuck is happening right now? That was awesome. And again, once again, if you're looking at jaded pro wrestling fans, boy, oh boy, was that Voices of Wrestling box loud as fuck. Happy to see it. And even the little thing with Orange Cassidy with the glasses, and it was, look, I don't think anybody's complaining. The most hardcore of hardcore pro wrestling fans who love their strong style. This was a really fucking fun moment in pro wrestling, and that's what we're here for.
So we had a question from Sondre who says, what show do you see them having Shibata versus Ospreay on? See, this is the issue with these Shibata appearances. I don't want to be the party pooper, but for me, if a wrestler does an angle like that, which he's done several times now, then my expectation is, it's to set up a match. But with Shibata, I'm saying that is not the case. This is just like a fun little spot. Hey, look, here's a little Shibata appearance for the live crowd. Enjoy it. I'm not thinking that this is definitely setting up a Shibata singles match. I don't know what is going on with him and his status, whether he's an active wrestler or not, but take this little segment for what it was, just a bit of fun. I don't necessarily think this is setting up a program for the future.
Here's the attitude I'm going to take with this. If it does, awesome, because that would be pretty great. That the idea of Shibata Will Ospreay, I would be thrilled with it. Don't let your fingers bleed by crossing them and hoping that it's going to happen. I don't think, truth be told, I don't know if anybody truly knows, aside from maybe a handful of people, if this is building toward a match. in the future. You're right. We've seen a lot of this before. Like, wouldn't you think the first one would be Kenta, being that like years ago, the whole angle of Kenta turning was revolved around him. I would think there would be a match, a real match between those two. If this, think of this as icing on the cake. If it does happen, awesome. I think we're all in for a treat. Will it happen? Flip a coin. That's the best I can tell you. Flip a coin. I don't think anybody really knows until close to when it happens.
Then we had a special singles match with Zack Sabre Jr. against Claudio Castagnoli. So Claudio beat him 18 minutes, 26 seconds with a Auricular Bomb. Any issues for you about the use of Zack? Zack taking the pin here?
It's hard to complain about it because it is a guy that I'm sure AEW is building a lot around. Obviously, they are with the post-match and the investment they're going to make in him. No, I didn't really have a problem with it. I thought the match...
I just think it makes it a little bit tricky. Not impossible, but just a bit awkward to set up the Danielson match when it's like, well, you've just lost to one of his underlings now. So,
right.
Where is the claim to now having the singles match with Bryan Danielson? I mean, personally, I don't care. I thought it was a good match, really competitive match. You know, they went nearly 20 minutes. It was back and forth. I don't think Zack was squashed or anything, even though, you know, I was talking about this with Manabu. Let's acknowledge that Zack is a commodity in New Japan. You know, he's a New Japan Cup winner. And, but again, I don't think that he got punked out or anything here. But what did you think of the match?
I loved it. Even though I think a lot of the people kind of felt that he was going to make his debut here, I still think the crowd was amazingly receptive when they saw the jumbotron and the flag and the name pop up. I don't. You are right. It does like take a little bit of the sweetness out of it. The idea of Danielson and Zack in the future. But even with that said, I still think that's a dream matchup, which is a little bit different than this. Let's be fair, dream matchup as well. I thought the match was great. I thought both guys were outstanding. You could tell guys were like, they just felt the energy of the crowd, and I think like in this match, like a guy like Claudio, who, you know, when was the last time he's wrestled in front of a crowd of that size? You know, that noisy, that passionate, and you know, everybody was wanting the giant swing, and everybody wanted, you know, everybody knew all the finishes, and you know, it wasn't like he skipped a beat at all. It's a good fit for that, the Blackpool Combat Club. I mean, it's a fucking solid fit. I will say this. At this point in the show, though, in my mind, it felt like there were a lot of New Japan guys that were going under at this point, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and again, it's not something that affected my enjoyment of the show because I didn't really care who won or lost, really. I thought the show and the matches were so good that was sort of an afterthought for me. But having had a few days to reflect on it, you are looking at the results thinking like, what exactly did New Japan get out of this? And again, I'm not saying they got nothing out of it. I think sort of looking at the elevation of Shota Umino, Clark Connors, those I think were big, even though those guys lost. But in terms of actual big wins, I mean, what we got? Jay White sort of pinning Adam Cole in a weird botch finish. Is that our big victory here? Will Ospreay pinning Orange Cassidy? You know, it's not. Forgive me for not breaking out the bunting for those ones.
Yeah, it did seem like a lot of top stars were looking at the lights. Again, I wasn't that concerned because I feel like this show, as much as there were things that kind of allowed you to think that there would be a future program, whatever way we go with certain guys. It feels like this show was a singular show and not necessarily something that people are going to look back on and be like, oh, well, that guy, like, again, the idea of Bryan Danielson and Zach, I think it still has just as much steam and just as much sexiness, but no matter who won. Tana, again, he's Tanahashi. I mean, it's totally okay. And Jay White getting a win, that was expected. So, maybe I'm just bitching and moaning about an undercard, but it seemed like there was a lot of guys that were looking at the late.
Next, we had the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship four-way. So Jay White defeated Adam Cole, Hangman Page, and Kazuchika Okada. 21 minutes, 5 seconds by pinfall. So a few questions on this. Antonio says, thoughts on the Forbidden Door four-way match? And your beef with Dave Meltzer. What's the news on that? Are you guys on good terms with him? What's the deal? You guys, since Hangman, blah, 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 blah. We don't have beef with him.
No.
Dave said that he thought Hangman winning the title would be good for New Japan, and I disagreed because he made comparisons with guys like Kenny Omega and AJ Styles winning it, which I think are false equivalencies because those guys were working for, if not under contract with New Japan at that time, they were not under contract with full-time contract with rival promotions in a different country. So I just don't think those are equivalent things there. So I don't think it would be good for New Japan to just randomly belt up Hangman Page on a show like this. Maybe you could do it in the future, but I think you've got to build up to it because, various reasons. I'm not going to get into that now. Darryl says he was disappointed as me and the rest of that Hangman Adam Page isn't our IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Derek says, was there a storyline that was supposed to be advanced for Bullet Club in the Fatal 4-Way that didn't happen? Not a Fatal 4, it's a 4-way match. Let's not use the WWE verbiage here because of the finish, baby. Sizzle Beef, any clue what happened with the finish of the IWGP title match? Now, this was a weird one because I thought actually it was really good. It was avoiding a lot of the tropes because they seem to be building around this story with Jay White and Adam Cole teaming up. So we had a lot of three-way spots, not just two people having a nap whilst two other guys wrestled in the ring. So I thought they did a pretty good job actually avoiding the usual pitfalls of this sort of match. But then it just sort of fell apart at the end. I don't know if Adam Cole, I think he was maybe knocked loopy. I don't know. I haven't really gone through it, but that was obviously not the plan finish because he was pinned by Jay White after he hadn't even taken a move. He ducked a Rainmaker and then just got pinned after that. I don't know if he was trying to kick out and the referee didn't register it, but obviously that's not the way it was supposed to have gone down.
Yeah, I mean, and from a live perspective, it was weird. It was a bit deflating. Like you could feel like the air kind of gets sucked out of the arena when the referee slaps three. Like it was like one of those, huh? I think the people that are in that arena are savvy enough to kind of feel when a closing stretch is in their grasp, and it didn't feel that way. Like it just felt like a pin out of nowhere. And I don't want to say that the match was boring. I don't want to say the match wasn't holding people's interests, but that there were probably plenty of people just checking their Twitter feed because it felt like it was just we were just in transitions and we were just kind of nothing. We could take a break from looking at the ring, I guess. And I think a lot of people actually missed it because there were plenty of people that you could hear from the crowd just being like, "What the fuck happened?" So yeah, I mean, look. I would say this, that it was pretty obvious at least from a live perspective that more was to occur, that the finish came quickly, and that both those guys were going to be involved in something a little bit more than just what we saw. But one of those two was physically unable to maybe perform those spots. So, and you could tell Jay White is kind of talking to the ref like, we're fucked. We're going home. Yeah, and that's basically what happened. It did take away from the match. The match I thought was fucking solid. Joel, I'm telling you, like when Okada's kind of doing his little cup in his ear, listening for the crowd was bonkers. Like just ready to fucking go. Like they stood up cheering. It did remind me a lot of Dallas and G1 and Okada and Tanahashi, like that kind of reception. but louder because there were 17,000 as compared to 5,000 in Dallas. It was as much. Look, I'm not whatever. We've said a million things about Adam Cole. We've said a million things about Hangman Page. Jay White, I think, is an outstanding pro wrestler. Okada is Okada. I mean, what's there to say? The crowd appreciated every fucking second of it. Like for a lot of those people in that crowd, it was a wow moment. And I can't hand wave that. I thought it was really good.
Main event then was the interim AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi in 18 minutes, 14 seconds with the Death Rider. And I don't need an excuse to throw flowers at Tanahashi, but again, just taking a step back and thinking that this is the first co-promoted AEW New Japan show. Big moment, hopefully the first of many for these companies. Big red-hot crowds, very fun card, and the man that's handpicked to main event it from the New Japan side is Hiroshi Tanahashi. We got Naito, we got Okada, we got Jay White, we got all these other big stars, but it was Tanahashi, the guy who's been given this spot to make it a success. And god damn if he didn't fucking turn Jon Moxley heel in front of the Chicago crowd here. I think that everyone was just desperate for a Tanahashi win, and by the end of it, they were not happy that Tanahashi lost. So I thought they did a tremendous job here. The blood was great. It really gave it a nice little gritty edge to it. Just a tremendous main event. And Tanahashi, man, what a guy.
The best pro wrestler of my lifetime. I'm sorry if that offends people. I don't care. Best pro wrestler of my lifetime. Greatest pro wrestler of my lifetime is Hiroshi Tanahashi. Sorry. And here's
when everything else is falling apart, you could trust him, Tanahashi, and he's like, I got this. Don't worry, I got this.
Yep.
And everything is fine when Tanahashi's taking control.
Yep. And here's the thing. There's big match Tana, and knees be damned, and hips be damned, and biceps be damned. Doesn't matter. The fucking guy just goes. And he went. He gave you the big spots from big matches, the high fly flows, outside the ring. He let it all hang out. And not for nothing. Let's give the guy some fucking flowers here too. Because he's a professional. He is a professional's professional. He could have very easily been like, no, we'll do like a schmaz, or we'll do like a count, or some fucking nonsense. He not only was pinned, but that motherfucker lied in the middle of that ring he sold it like he was shot. Like, just an amazing pro wrestler. Top to bottom in ring, and then being the pro that he is, not only did he fucking lie down, but he lied down like a champ and sold everything as important as he had to, and even the beat down too. I thought this was better than I even thought it could be. It was better than I even thought it could be. And again, we talked about it before, how we were just a little bit hesitant. The styles didn't seem like it was a good mix. They're fucking pros, dude. They fucking did it and did it well, and main evented a big card in a big building in front of a big attendance. And they put the icing on the cake on a great show. Like, look, was it Kenny Okada? No, it wasn't. Was it, epic Ibushi Naito or no, it wasn't. But this was a great main event made better by the crowd, and the importance of what was going on. I totally fucking dug it, and both guys worked their ass off doing it.
Yeah, I mean, there were those big run-ins at the end that descended into a huge brawl to set up Blood and Guts, which, I hand to be honest, after Moxley pinned Tanahashi, I turned it off. So I skipped all of that stuff. So yeah, missed me with that. I'm not particularly interested, but that didn't ruin the show or anything for me at all. I thought overall, just tremendous stuff. Some questions here. Azuario says, what's both your favourite matches of Forbidden Door? I might have to say my favourite would be that All-Atlantic Four-Way. I really enjoyed that one a lot.
It was good. The opener was really good. I love that. I thought Tanahashi Mox was great. I thought Will and Orange Cassidy was really great. My favorite match of the night. I gotta be honest, I might go with the fucking the 6-man tag opening the show. But then Tana and Mox was really good. I don't know. That's a hard one. Like that's how fucking much fun I had. Like, what was the best match? I might go Will Orange Cassidy. I might, and Zach and Claude. That was great. All right, if I have to pick one, I'll go Ospreay, Orange Cassidy.
Vince Collector says, what have you heard about the Japanese reception to Forbidden Door? I mean, for the people that I know who watched it, enjoyed it, it's just the same sort of minor complaints that we have. But if we're talking bigger stuff for the Japanese audience, one, the price of the pay-per-view and the timing. Like, if they put it on Saturday, that would have been better. But a lot of Japanese fans couldn't watch it because couldn't watch it live because it was on Monday in Japan, where most people would have been at work at that time. So that is what I've heard from the Japanese fan reception. Louis says, honestly, the show exceeded my expectations. With the success of this pay-per-view, is there a chance AEW does a show in Japan for the next Forbidden Door? And Sitzy, my good friend from the Smartcast, says, so this is an AEW show with an NJPW sprinkling. If the next one is in Japan as an NJPW style show with a sprinkle of AEW talent, what will be one multi-man match and two singles matches you'd book? So, yeah, do you think this is going to be the first of many? They've got to do this again. Yeah. I mean, there's huge money to be made here. And I think if my biggest takeaway, one, yes, of course, I want to see another one. And two, I think I would just sort of tune out all the noise when it comes to the build and the booking and just wait until we got the card. And even if it looks weird on paper, I think I have enough faith in both promotions to put on a killer show, even if it's not the dream matches that I would have wanted.
Yes, 1,000%. I think if we learned a lesson, it is to steal a Philadelphia 76ers slogan, trust the process. They
could sell out a stadium, couldn't they?
I feel like
based on how this show went, I think if they could put on a much bigger venue, and I still think those tickets would sell out very, very quickly. Just based on how good this one was.
Here's the thing: how many people traveled in for this show, and how many people that I talked to, knowing full well that they traveled in, were just like such a good time. Like, they built a lot of fucking trust. You know, it's not like they walked out of that arena and they were like, "Oh, this fucking show, man. I don't know." No. I didn't hear a peep of that. Everybody had a great time. Chicago is the center of the country. And for the people on the East Coast, it's an hour and a half, 2-hour flight. For West Coast, maybe a little bit longer. But the city is great. The arena is great. They could do it every fucking year in that building, and I would go every fucking time. Will the next one be in Japan? I don't know. I can't say that it's a definite, but it sure feels like that's the case. And maybe a little, we scratched your back, maybe now you scratch ours.
In terms of matches I'd like to see, probably not possible because of the politics, but some sort of Los Ingobernables versus LIJ or some sort of teaming up. I want to see those guys all in the ring together. That would be great. Two singles matches. Okay, so I've given you one earlier. I think Darby Allin versus Doki. So they can just go out there and just do crazy stuff to each other's bodies. Another one, I'm not sure. Apart from the obvious ones, I mean, I know we'd all like to see Zack versus Bryan Danielson. How about Naito versus Punk? I know I've given you two lots of Naito there, but I love Naito, so there you go.
I like that spot for him. Yeah, Naito Punk. I think that would be really, really great. I think everybody's still chomping at the bit for Bryan Danielson and Zack. What else that we haven't seen?
Miro versus Shingo. That would be fun.
Okay. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I think Hiromu's got to be somewhere in that mixed. I don't know if you do Hiromu and I don't know. Do I want to say
Hiromu versus Darby is one that people talk about a lot?
I think that would be great. Again, keep in mind, you still have Kushida in your back pocket. There's a lot of guys. Kenta. There's a lot of guys that, you know. Here's the thing that I have to just throw all the flowers I possibly can at this show. They did this not only booking on the fly in some cases, and again, we talked about the positives and the negatives of that. Just go through the amount of names that weren't on the show and it was still a great show. Imagine when we have rosters at full capacity and injuries are healed, and even more dream matches can be laid out. Like that's pretty amazing to me. The fact that they were able to pull this off, literally day by day. People weren't going to be able to be on the show, and they figured it out. And here's the thing too. Not only do I have to give credit to both New Japan and AEW, it's the people in the ring. Like the people in the ring. It's like they had a meeting beforehand and been like, you know what, guys and gals, go out there and fucking tear it up. That's it. You know what I mean? There's just go and do everything you can to be great. And they did. Every match felt like they went out there and said, okay, I'm going to try and steal the show. Well, and it was great. It was really a fun fucking time. So, yeah, if there's another one, I'll be there. No doubt.
All right, let's touch on the G1 Climax blocks and schedules. So let's talk about A block first, where we've got Okada, Lance Archer, Jonah, Jeff Cobb, Filthy Tom Lawler, Toriano, and Bad Luck Fale. And I'm not going to read out the whole schedule for this, but just the night 18 in Budokan Hall, August 16th, in A block, we will have Okada versus Lance Archer and Jonah versus Bad Luck Fale to conclude that block. So let's just give our thoughts on the blocks, any matches you're looking forward to, and who do you think is going to win the block. So A block, it's hard to look past Okada in terms of winner.
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty safe pick, but I think probably the correct pick there. I can't really see anyone else going through. In terms of matches I'm looking forward to, Jonah versus Bad Luck Fale. I'm going to see how many minutes they last before both of them are completely blown up. No, seriously, though, I mean, there are a lot of question marks around Jonah, actually. People are been quite dismissive already of his participation in this G1. But I don't know. I think he could prove a few people wrong.
I know
so
he can.
We'll see on that one.
Every year there's that, Joel, though. Every year there's that one guy that's like, oh, Jeff Cobb's in. Oh, Michael Elgin's in. Oh, this guy. You know what I mean? Like that guy who's just doesn't have the expectations, and they go out there and they fucking deliver. Like, here's the thing with Jonah. Like, right now he's on a fucking treadmill. I guarantee it. Like they know. You don't think he's picked up the phone and said, "Okay, what the fuck do I expect from this?" You know, to people who have been there and done that. You know, what's my conditioning have to be like? What can I expect in the fucking brutal Japanese summer? Like, trust me, he's going to be well prepared, and I think he's going to over deliver. Because I don't think he's bad. I just think he has underwhelmed, we'll say, so far. Like, he hasn't done anything that's been like, oh, okay, put you on the map for this. But I think he will. I think G1's going to be a nice little coming out party for him.
Yeah, in terms of matches I'm looking forward to in A block, I mean, Okada versus Tom Lawler is one that stands out. Underrated comedy, Yano versus Tom Lawler. I think that one could be a lot of fun. So A block, matches you're looking forward to, who do you think wins?
I think Okada wins. I think a lot of the Tom Lawler stuff, like all those are going to be fun, fresh, exciting, different matchups. I can't really. I am looking forward to Jonah, actually. Because I really feel like he's going to be one of those guys that's going to impress more people. I don't think people are going to be hand waving him after this. Fale, look, we're already doing a hand waving on that. Yano, I mean, he's good for the fucking the quickie, flash pin, right? You know he's there with that, right? Jeff Cobb, probably Jeff Cobb Jonah might be good, right? I think Jeff Cobb Okada might be really good.
Yeah, that's the opening night, I think.
Okay.
Let me just check. Chris Samsa's put it up on his Twitter.
Handsome Chris Samsa.
Night one. Handsome Chris Samsa. The hunk Chris Samsa. Yeah, July 16th in Hokkaido. Okada versus Jeff Cobb.
Okay. Yeah, I think those are probably the highlights for me for Block A.
Right, and then looking at B block, we have Taichi, Tamatonga, Tomohiro Ishii, Jay White, Sanada, Great-O-Khan, and Chase Owens. Hard to look past Jay White, although I'll give you Sanada maybe even Great O'Khan as possible dark horses for those blocks, but I can't really look past Jay White for that one.
Yeah, I think on paper, that's the guy. You'd like to think Taichi would be in the mix. You'd like to think O'Khan would be in the mix. This might be the year Ishii is under 500 in the B block.
Yeah. I mean, if rumours are to be believed, he was on the chopping block as well, nearly not included. And that day will come sooner than a lot of you might think.
Yeah.
Final night here we got for B block, Ishii versus Sanada, Tama Tonga versus Jay White. So that's a big one. Jay White versus Tama Tonga. Obviously, they've got a lot of history together now with the Bullet Club breakup, him kicking them out of the Bullet Club. So the potential there for Tama Tonga to maybe spoil Jay White. Who knows? I don't know now.
You know what? I would put a couple bucks on that. I would put a couple pounds, yen, dollars on that. Absolutely. Okay,
so then if that happens, then what was the other match? Ishii versus Sanada. So maybe Sanada's going to win the block. We might be getting a Okada-Sanada semi-final. Matches I'm looking forward to. Okada versus Taichi. I think that will be a lot of fun.
I think Jay versus Taichi would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they did that in 2019, I think, and it was very, very good.
Okay. I think O'Khan Ishii would be good. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
What about Tama Tonga versus Ishii? I don't know if they've wrestled each other in singles before, but
how about Tama Tonga Taichi? I mean, I'm sure they've wrestled in tags.
Yeah. I think this is quite an underrated block, actually. I think people were hand-waving this one, but...
Yeah, and then you always have that stud. Ishii's still a stud. I mean, I know we're trying to fucking put him out the pasture, but he's still a stud and can have some pretty fucking great matches. So, let's not write him off quite yet.
Okay, so C block then we have Kenta, Zack Sabre Jr., Hiroki Goto, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tetsuya Naito, Aaron Henare, and Evil. So, with the exception of Henare, these are all guys that I think were in the same block together. Certainly 2 years ago, maybe even last year, I think a lot of them were in the same block too. So this is the hardcore New Japan fans block, if you will. In terms of picking a winner, I mean, looking at the final night, the matches we have are Goto versus Evil and Naito versus Zack. So you think one or both of those might end up being decisive. Hard to look past Naito. There's some rumours about him not being included in Forbidden Door because they wanted to wrap him in cotton wool and protect him leading up to this G1. So maybe he might be one of the favourites for winning this whole tournament. So I am going to pick Naito to win C block. And in terms of matches I'm looking forward to, I'm very interested to see how Henare gets on. Looking at matches like Henare versus Naito, I think Naito will be going out of his way to try and make Henare look good. And of course, Kenta versus Zack. That is always brilliant whenever they meet each other in the G1. So those are two that I'll be circling in the calendar. C block, who have you got?
Man, I tell you, Evil sticks out like a fucking sore thumb for me. Like, he just seems like he's that guy that's going to slide underneath a lot of people's radar and fucking steal this. The cock block, as I like to call it. Evil, I think, is a threat. Naito, obviously, a threat. I think even Tanahashi, to a certain degree, is a threat. Gun to my head. I mean, both guys didn't make this Forbidden Door. I might go Evil.
Oh dear.
I might go. Hey, look, we know that it's going to be a big summer for Bullet Club. They're going to be front and center in a lot of shit. I think this might have something to do with it. I'm going Evil.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is the thing with these expanded blocks. You can have these dark horses actually outright winning the block, where normally they wouldn't really be in with a shot. You could easily see, someone like an O'Khan or an Evil managing to win their block. A few upsets along the way. D block, then we've got El Phantasmo, David Finlay, Yoshihashi, Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi, Juice Robinson, and Yujiro Takahashi. So a lot of Bullet Club stuff going on there. On the final night for these guys, the two matches, we've got Shingo versus ELP and Ospreay versus Juice. So two interesting matches there. You think there might be a bit of spoiling going on? I'm just approaching this through the lens of on the night 19 when we got the semi-finals. I mean, they got a Budokan Hall to sell out, so I think they would want some tasty matches there. Now, if I pick Naito to win C block, I'm tempted to go Ospreay because Ospreay Naito is still a match that they have very, very carefully stayed away from.
Right.
That's one of the few money matches they've got left. I don't know if that's necessarily one they want to pull the trigger on for a G1 semi-final, but it is an option. I mean, we could do Naito Ospreay. We could do Naito versus Shingo. Shingo might win this block.
What about Juice?
Gun to my head, Juice.
Juice Ospreay last night. They got that fucking U.S. title that's still in contention. I don't know. Something tells me Juice fucking gets one up on Ospreay on this one.
Any other matches you're looking forward to? What about ELP versus Shingo?
I think ELP might be the guy that I'm most interested in this block. Because there's a lot of guys he can have great matches with. Ospreay, Shingo, even Yoshihashi. I will say to me, like, the Finleys, Yujiro, even, I gotta be honest with you, kind of Yoshihashi, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Like, am I going to be on the edge of my seat for fucking Yoshihashi matches?
Even I was going to say, I'm weirdly looking forward to Yoshihashi versus Shingo because that's a first-time matchup, and I think that is one that could be really, really good. But, aside from that, I can't put my hand on the heart and say, yeah, Yoshihashi G1.
Right. So, I mean, and here's the thing. He has good matches. Again, we don't need anybody fucking hitting us up on the DMs. Just, again, not sexy. Not sexy.
All right, so let's recap then, Damon. Give me your 2 semi-finals, please. So I'm just being boring here. I'm going to go Okada versus Jay and then Naito versus Ospreay.
Yeah, I'm going Okada, Jay. I'm going Evil and Ospreay.
And who's your final? If I've got Okada, Jay, it would have to be Okada winning. So Okada's in the final and then Naito, Ospreay. Naito wins, setting up Okada versus Naito final. And I am going to pick Naito to win the G1.
Okay, that's not a bad pick. I would have probably Okada. How about Jay Ospreay?
Yeah.
Jay Ospreay.
That's a big one.
Yeah. I might go Jay Ospreay, just for shits and giggles, just to mix it up a little bit.
And then who's winning your Grade 1 climax? I mean, bear in mind, Jay White will be your IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
And maybe the first one to win it, right? While holding a title.
Could be.
It's got to happen sometime, right? Fuck it. Jay Whiteo is your...
It's the J1.
The J1. Boy, do you think people will be happy with that?
I can think of one person who'd be happy with that. Liam from our Discord. I'm not sure about everyone else.
He likes that Jamie. Yes, I'm going Jay White.
All right, let's touch on New Japan Strong. Again, this is part of the taping from the 2300 arena, so if I'm not mistaken, you have seen these matches. So we had David Finlay beating Danny Limelight, 6 minutes, 30 seconds, Trash Panda. I mean, it was fine. I guess we're trying to give David Finlay a bit of momentum going into the G1. Then we have Minoru Suzuki defeating Tony Deppen in 10 minutes, 30 seconds with a Gotch-style power driver. This one was good. It was different to your usual Suzuki Funny Faces match. There was a bit more sort of technical grappling involved in this one, so I did enjoy this one. But the main thing I want to focus on is the Strong Openweight Championship versus Loser Leave Strong match, where Fred Rosser, the challenger, defeated Tom Lawler in his 10th defense, 24 minutes, 17 seconds with the Chicken Wing STF. Tony says the Rosser versus Lawler feud felt like something out of the Territory days. What do you guys think? And Cal Razen says, is Fred Rosser one of the feel-good stories of the year? And has Rosser versus Tom Lawler quietly been one of the better feuds in the business? I mean, yes, it's no coincidence that it won the Strong Match of the Year 2 years in a row. And I think this has been built perfectly, really. We've had, 10 defenses for Tom Lawler, all building up to this moment where Fred Rosser gets his second shot. And I think the story's been great with all the, the personal insults and the hair shaving and hair eating and all of that. And it really felt like sort of the last chance saloon for Fred Rosser, and just a great testament to how far he's come and developed as a wrestler that he's been able to put on these tremendous matches and be a credible, strong openweight champion. I think if they belted him up straight away when they had that tournament, people would have been going, what, Fred Rosser, what are we doing here? But the fact that Tom Lawler's had it for this long and has put some shine on it whilst we've been building up Fred Rosser has made it make all the sense in the world and the perfect person to hand it off from. So I thought the match was really great and just wonderful to see Fred Rosser getting this moment, which he richly deserves.
Yeah. Like it seems like it was a million years ago, honestly, when this match occurred. But I do remember the building like going nuts for that title change. Yeah, it's well deserved, and yeah, he is a feel good story of the year, and yeah, he is a guy that didn't just walk in and expected, well, I'm WWE guy. Well, okay, no, he worked tremendously throughout the entire year to make it happen. It is a feel good story because it could have very easily have been a situation where, he's got a little bit of a name and they handed him a title that maybe people would say he didn't deserve. That's not the case here. That's not the case here at all. And yeah, this is going to be, it is an underrated feud. It's a shame because it's one of the better New Japan feuds for the past year. It's really been underrated, really good. And it's really amazing too, also how, when the Notebook is out and how they managed to get the title off Tom Lawler so that he can go to G1. It's pretty amazing how they figured all that out in the tapings and the airings and all that stuff. So good job, New Japan. Well done.
Let's have a quick look at the New Japan Strong Tag Team Championship tournament brackets. They have filmed most of this already. They have not done the finals yet, but I can't remember who's won which matches. All I can tell you is that...
excited about it. You were all excited about it.
I know, but it hasn't been televised yet.
Okay.
I sort of saw briefly on Twitter someone who was at the taping saying who won. And the only takeaway I had from that was the fact that Carl Fredericks had been dropped and replaced with Yuya Uemura. So it's Uemura and Daniels, not Fredericks and Daniels. And again, I don't want to spoil myself. I would like to watch these matches as they're broadcast. But in terms of picking a winner, hard to look past Aussie Open for me. I think they will be the team that you want to belt up and hold this going forward, personally.
Yeah, I'm looking at the brackets. Midnight Heat.
So we got Daniels and Uemura, The Factory, TMDK, West Coast Wrecking Crew, and then the other side of the bracket, Midnight Heat and Stray Dog Army, and then Dark Order and Aussie Open.
Dark Order, baby. It seems like Aussie Open over Dark Order, and then Stray Dog Army, Midnight Heat. You think Stray Dog Army moves there? Okay. Yeah, Aussie. I listen, if I had the opportunity to book this, Aussie Open's my champions. Absolutely. Who let's be very truthful here, have really, really fit in like a glove in that United Empire. Those guys are the guys digging the ditch in that faction. They have flown under the radar a little bit, and I think hopefully this will help get some more eyeballs on them because it's well deserved. They're really good, really fucking good.
All right, so the finals of that are on July the 24th at Hyla in Charlotte, North Carolina.
You're not going to watch it. You're not going to tune in. You're going to be on your little Britain tour.
I will be stuffing my face with a lovely cheesy raclette sandwich at Borough Market at that point.
Son of a bitch. Well, I'll make sure I watch after I do all my interviews of New Japan's finest. Let's figure it out.
Let's really try and push the boat out. Let's try and get Jay White on the podcast. He can just
I don't think I want to do
20
that.
Minutes.
He'll just be like, "You're an asshole." I don't want that. I want people to be nice. I wonder who we could get. I wonder what the biggest name we can get. Here's the thing, though.
If you're a big name and you're listening to this podcast, send us a DM.
Yeah.
If you want to come on the Jcast.
Yeah. If you want to come on the number one New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast. I don't know if I really want like a worker in the sense of what are they going to tell me? You know what I mean? What are they really going to be like? I don't know. feel weird. Maybe somebody ancillary I would like. Maybe I can get Charlton. Do you think Chris Charlton would come on this show?
That would be a good show.
That would be a good show, right?
Definitely have a lot of interesting things to say.
Maybe Kevin Kelly. Maybe he'd come on. He seems like a nice guy. He might want to come on again. How about Bad Luck Fale? Do you think Bad Luck Fale would? I'll tell you what. How about we fucking pull some strings and we get you know who? Kikuchi.
Yes. The official.
The official.
It's official.
It's officially official. Yeah, let's see if we can pull some strings. Let's see if we can get somebody good. And not to say that the people that I reach out to won't be good. Don't get me wrong. But let's see what kind of things we can pull off here while you're away gallivanting all over Europe in your little excursion.
That's quite a generous term for me staying in a house in Devon for 3 weeks. But yeah, I'm sure I'll have a nice time. Okay, let's wrap it up then. You've got something you want to plug?
Oh, I do. Yeah, actually, I do. So during the meetup, I was hanging out with, on Twitter, he's known as Derek Von Erich. Him and we had some fun with some beers and some sausages and all that fun stuff. They do. I told him I would talk about it because I have it. I got it, and it's on my phone, and I was playing around with it. And I was playing around with it after the meetup. It's called Ultimate Wrestling Trivia. You can get it on your Apple, your App Store, Google Play. It's available now. Download the free and fun Ultimate Wrestling Trivia app today. You got like 11,000 trivia questions and 30 plus wrestlers making over 650 video reactions to your answers, which is pretty cool. They got, I think they said they got Lawler and Kevin Nash, a couple other people like that make fun if you get it wrong. It's really fucking fun. So again, go download it now. It's really worth your time here. Again, Ultimate Wrestling Trivia. You can search for it on the App Store, Google Play Store. Grab it now. And let them know what you think. It's really fun. I think you'll have fun doing it. And it comes highly endorsed because I have it currently on my phone right now. So get in it. Get in on the trivia. It's fun, free, and get in on it.
Excellent stuff. Also, circle.com/shows/super-j-cast if you want to throw some money our way for all the wonderful content we put out there for you. Discord link if you want to get involved in that. Send me a direct message on Twitter at Cobra Kawaii and ProWrestlingTees.com/super-j-cast for one of our t-shirts. Actually, I think they might have a sale on at the moment. Let me check. I've got an email from Brad Dornick at ProWrestlingTees.com. So it's their annual 4th of July and Canada Day sales starting Friday, July the 1st at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, continuing through to Tuesday, July the 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Use promo codes America22 or Canada22 to get 20% off. So that's promo code America22, Canada22, and you get 20% off ProWrestlingTees.com/SuperJcast. Big thanks to editor Dan. Hope he's recovering well from his accident. Find him on Twitter at LousyHero219. Subscribe to the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network for other great shows. Give us a 5-snake review on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at the SuperJcast. Thank you everybody for listening, and goodbye.
This message comes from U.S. Bank. Expertise, encouragement, and support. That's what U.S. Bank is for. From incredible customer service to custom-fit personal loan options, U.S. Bank can help you achieve your goals. And the award-winning U.S. Bank mobile app puts your plan in your hand. Get started today at usbank.com. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Credit products are offered by U.S. Bank National Association and subject to normal credit approval. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC.
Freedom is a feeling. Find out what true freedom feels like at Jeep Freedom Days. And now, well-qualified lessees get a low-mileage lease on the new two-row 2022 Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 for $359 a month for 24 months with $6,069 due with signing. Tax, title, license extra. No security deposit required. Call 1-888-925-JEEP for details. Requires dealer contribution only through U.S. Bank. Extra charge for miles over 20,000. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 7/5/22. Jeep is a registered trademark.